Hey guys, in this video we're going to take a look at observables. So observables are not a feature that is specific to Angular. Okay, Angular does take advantage of them, but observables are part of reactive extensions. Okay, and they will be a standard in ES7. But what they are, basically they're open lines of communication. So it's kind of an open data stream. And we can basically create a service function that will be an open data stream to our components. Now, when we get into the HTTP module to fetch data and send it, from our service to the component, it actually sends it as an observable. So it's an open stream, which makes things very quick, very real time. So what I have here is I still have our data service. I cleared everything out except for the class and the constructor. I also have it imported into our sandbox component and then injected as a dependency. So what we're going to do in this service is we're going to create an observable and then send some data to our component in a stream. So we need to first import observable. Okay, and then as I said, it's part of reactive extensions or RxJS, so we're going to bring that in from RxJS/observable. All right, and then what we'll do here is we're going to set a property called data, and the type we're going to set to is observable. Okay, we can do that, and then we want to put these angle brackets, and we're going to say it's going to be an array of numbers, so we can go like that. All right, and then right below the constructor we're going to create a function called getData. Okay, and what I want to do is I want to release a number or some type of data every second. Okay, so we're going to use set timeout to do that. Now what we'll do is we'll say this dot data, and we can set it to new observable to create a new observable. Okay, and this is asynchronous, and then we're going to use an arrow function in here. We're going to say observer and set that to a set of curly braces. All right, now these arrow functions, this is part of ES6 as well as TypeScript. It's basically a different way of doing, for instance, a callback function. Oops, like that. Okay, so something like that. Okay, but it has some benefits to doing it, including using lexical this. But we're not going to really get into that. But we have an arrow function here. We have this observer value, and then what I'm going to do is set timeout. Okay, now set timeout is a JavaScript function that will do just that. You can have some functionality, and you can set an amount of milliseconds to wait until you do whatever it is you're going to do. So in here we're going to have another arrow function. It's just going to be a blank set of parentheses because there's no arguments. And then we're going to take that observer value and we're going to call .next. Okay, and we're just going to pass along the number 1. All right, and then set timeout takes an extra parameter, which will be the number of milliseconds to wait to do this. So we're going to say 1000, which is 1 second. All right, and then I'm going to copy this set timeout, and we're going to paste it in a couple more times. So it's going to wait a second. Now after 2 seconds, I want it to release the number, the number 2, and then 3 seconds we'll do the number 3, and let's see, 4 seconds we'll just do a string. We'll say hello. Okay, and then in 5 seconds we want to end the observable, so we're going to replace next with complete. Okay, and that's not going to take a parameter. So what it'll do is it's going to open a data stream to this function, and then every second it'll send data. Okay, now we just need to return this, so let's go right down here and just say return this dot data. All right, so we'll save that. And then let's go into our sandbox component here. And we already have the data service coming in. But what I'm going to do is set a property of our component called data. And I'm just going to set that to, let's just set it to any and an array. Okay, and we'll just set it to an empty array for now. And then in our constructor, what we'll do is we'll say this dot data service, and then we want to call get data. Now, since this is an observable, we need to subscribe to it. Okay, so we need to do dot subscribe, and then that's going to return whatever comes back from data. We're going to use an arrow function, and then let's just do a console.log of the data that we're getting back from the stream, from the observable. So let's save and then watch down here. So we get 1, 2, 3, and then hello. Okay, because it's sending off every second. It's doing 1, 2, 3, hello. So it's an open stream. It's not just one, a one-shot deal where it returns something and that's it. It keeps an open stream, which is just phenomenal for real-time applications. All right, now we don't have to just console log this. We can actually put this in our UI somehow. So if we want to say this.data, and we're going to do .push, and then each time that comes through, we're just going to push on the data. And then let's go up here and we'll create a UL. Just going to give it a class of list group. Okay, and then we'll just put an LI. Okay, and then in here, let's put an ng4. And we're just going to say I'm just going to call this D. Let D of data. And then in here, we're going to put D. So now if we reload, you'll see 1, 2, 3, hello. Okay, so it's actually printing it out on the screen. Now this specific example isn't very useful, but you could just imagine the type of things that you could do with this. All right, so observables, although aren't, strictly for Angular, Angular takes a pretty good advantage of being able to use observables pretty easily. Alright, so in the next video we're going to start to look at the HTTP module, which does also, it allows us to make AJAX calls and then return data as an observable.